Hi you guys, welcome back to my channel. This is Luminescent here with a moon reading for the moon in Taurus. Just looking at the astrology, the moon is going to conjunct Mars and Uranus, 6 and 7 degrees in Taurus. The moon is exalted in Taurus, but Uranus is not very happy in Taurus. It does better in Scorpio with water because electricity travels better in water, especially strong current water. But yeah, it's going to pass over that conjunction as they square off with Saturn and Jupiter, 4 and 7 degrees Aquarius. The moon will eventually trine over to Venus, sextile Neptune, and then trine to Pluto. So it feels like something is really kind of like popping, like a pop-up box, like Jack in a Box, kind of like that's the kind of like the energy I'm getting. It's like something that's slowly being like stirred up and eventually just gonna pop out. Like there's gonna be some type of unexpected thing that happens, and I say that because it goes from being like the square, it has that tension, right? And it goes from being intense with the sun, Saturn, Jupiter, and Mercury, which is in shadow, getting ready to go retrograde in a few days. It was going through the moon, and Taurus is squaring all these elements like whoa, 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 whoa. And then it trines as it's conjuncting like those power points, Uranus and Mars. And then it trines over to the Capricorn energy where it's like, okay, did you just see that? Did you see that? What just happened here? And then it goes back to the sextile with Neptune where it's like, okay, let's open this up a little bit more and figure out what exactly is going on, because no one really knows unless you know. And then it hits Pluto again where it's like, okay, now we have a final determination. Now we have a final wrap-up call of what's actually going on here at 24 degrees. So yeah, it's a lot going on, but the people are being involved with all this Aquarius energy and Uranus being in Taurus. Like we get a big awakening, like, okay, like it's time to move, it's time to go. Like, do you see this happening? Do you see that happening? Did you see this opportunity? Do you see this opportunity? Like, it's time to go and get it. And I feel like the breaks when it trines over to Capricorn is for us to, and sorry about that. Yeah, our environment will change, but it's only with that Venus and Pluto is to elevate us into a more, with Taurus, of course, is to upgrade our values, upgrade our moral beliefs that are subconscious, of course, the moon, Pluto, but we're putting it in physical action because that's what we're currently thinking about. We're having all these ideas come in from a higher octave, of course, and Mercury is in Aquarius as well. So there's been a lot of communication or talk about what the future holds, but a lot of people, whether you have fear or not have fear, we all have to analyze the connection between where we are now and where we're trying to go. And it can be overwhelming with the Pisces sextile because we want to move forward, we want to plunge ahead, we want to stay consistent and have things pay off for us long term in the end, especially if it's going to benefit the rest of the world, because when one elevates, we all have an invitation to do it as well, whether known or unknown. But as a collective energy, that sextile gives us an opportunity to see, we all have the ability to do better, feel better, live better, create the paradise, or whatever reality basically is what that is. A paradise is just a reality that you are living in that brings you the most prosperous vibrations and energy and call that to you in forms of people, places, things, ideas, experiences, circumstances, situations, whatever the case may be. We do have to, through our ascension throughout the 4D, which is, as Dolo would say, purgatory, you have to build your way out of it. So that does require, some form of duality, but understanding that duality is not forever. As far as like everything being so terrible or low and, and then there's the high and the good, it's not really like that. Just coming out of it, it will seem that way, but eventually you'll understand that the if your lowest is still a high, then your high is going to be the highest of highs. Like, that's how it goes. It doesn't stay like this and you bounce in between. I mean, you can, but you want to, like, when you raise your standard, raise the whole thing. Okay, so let's just get into the reading. We have a Jupiter, Moon, Saturn, and Sun. Jupiter is about the expansion. What do we already have to work with? And we got Saturn, return, age. So, Jupiter is with Saturn right now. They're a few degrees apart, but at the same time, because Saturn is, was the co-ruler with Aquarius, of course. With this being in a Jupiter position, to me, signifies that we are changing the way that we know our reality to be based on, what has happened even in the last year, but last 5, 10, 15, 20 years, a lot of things have changed. So instead of trying to keep the old status dragging along behind us, we need to actually let it go. Use the, King of Swords and cut it off, because logically it's not, helpful to drag along with us the past anymore, especially if we're growing and maturing into what the future is supposed to hold. Why hold on to the past? I didn't mention this, but the overall energy at the bottom was trine blessings, and we do have some earth trines going on here with this transit between Taurus and Capricorn. So we have the ability to allow our manifestations to show us where we are on a spiritual level. With the moon, what we're going to be demystifying here is 5th house creativity, Leo energy, of course, which is going to happen next week with that full moon in Leo. So right now we're just setting the stage up for this full moon to show us, where do we need to use our creativity. Taurus is a physical representation of art as well. So if we are working on anything physically that we want to accomplish, the full moon would definitely give us the full emotional spectrum of how we can use the creativity we hold in the best way, but we still building up energy between, the new moon and the full moon. So definitely keep working, definitely keep doing your best to, grow that energy. But right now with the moon in Taurus transit, with that sextile to Pisces as well, it's definitely time that we get more in touch with how we express ourselves, because that's going to be a very important factor in how we take care of ourselves from this point on going into the future. So what we'll be working towards or working on here is Mars force, with Mars being conjunct Uranus in Taurus. We definitely need to work on if we're forcing anything, or how we're forcing or using our actual force in the situation or circumstance that we're in right now. This has to do with strength as well. So are we working on being stronger? Are we working on our fitness? Are we working on our belief systems, our values? Are we forcing things to be a certain way? Or are we allowing the force that is driving us, that is of a godly nature, a spiritual nature, are we allowing that true path to come through for us and show us what direction we're supposed to be heading in. We don't want to, well, I'm not going to say it that way. What I want to say is like, because this is another 5 here. We got 2 5s down here, the 50 and then the 5. With Mars squaring to Jupiter exactly at 7 degrees, we are going to start showing how different we are from everyone else. And this is a key moment to work on how tolerant of other people's ideas, dreams, reality, belief systems that we truly are. Everything is divided the way that it is for a reason, but just because, you know, someone has a different life path or a different passion or a different way of living from you doesn't mean that they become someone who is intolerable, unless they're just trying to force their way of living or livelihood on you, and it stunts your ability to, you know, be creative and find your creative outlet, your niche that's going to help you prosper in the future. Because then that's not going to be a blessing. That's just going to be a hindrance to you actually finding fulfillment in your life. So the outcome with the Sun card is Aquarius, I know. So yes, during this transit, the outcome is income. Do you know what's going to bring you income? Do you know what your income is based off of? Because it's not money. Money is the side effect of following, you know, your creative force and using your lessons as building blocks to receive the blessings, you know, things coming down into the physical reality that you can actually use as tools. Do you know what it is that you're supposed to be doing with your life? Have you already started on your path? Because nothing is overnight. It does take time. It does take many revolutions. With the trine over to Pluto, it takes many transformations of the same idea, because we're constantly changing. Things are around us are constantly changing. It's for a reason. It's for everything to be better. So let's get some clarifiers for these 4 here. I am still doing personal readings, so you can log on to my website, reminiscent6.org, and book a personal consultation with me. You can also book a masterclass, which is 2 hours, going over chart reading and as well as reading your own personal chart and different houses and planets pertaining to the subject matter at hand. For more information, you can email me. My email and everything is in the bio description. So let's get into the first one here with this moon Taurus. Let's go ahead and clarify these 4. Age, creativity, force, and I know. It's all over the place. Okay. And the overall theme is blessings, things coming into fruition. What have you been working on this whole time? What you've been forcing yourself to do or to realize, and well, how is that connected to the coming of age that we are, you know, in right now? So let's look at Saturn. My arm just jiggling. Let's look at Saturn. Wow, Saturn in the Saturn return, actually. Wow, it's a Saturn return here. What's the reason? So we got the 2 of Wands here. This card talks about taking action. Study long, study wrong. Looking out and at the options that you do have and making sure you choose the one that's best for you. Because again, this is Saturn return, Saturn energy. So this is us coming full circle with the lessons that we needed to learn for the last lifetime. Like, what did you learn this past lifetime or this last season of life? What obstacles did you have to get through, and do you realize why they were there, so you know how to move forward during the next page? So let's look at these two that fell out. Okay, Page of Pentacles and the Three of Swords. So we definitely had a lot of obstacles when trying new things, or we've experienced some misunderstanding, or, you know, let's say I don't hear anything anymore. We have experienced some separations from people, or we will continue to experience separations from people that are just on a different, you know, experience than we are on, and learning how to be tolerant and learning something new about what we and they are experiencing, because it's a collective thing that we're all going through, and not being so not taking it too personally. I want to put them back in here, but sometimes I need to leave them there, so I'm just leave that. And you know, this is about, of course, a conscious shift as well. So we're all shifting our consciousness at the same time, and you're seeing people who choose to shift their consciousness to one lane, and people shift their consciousness to another lane. But not letting it define how you shift your consciousness is one of the biggest factors, I believe, at this time. Learning how to be your own governing body. All right, so let's look at the moon position wise, creativity here. We got the Ace of Wands. And the Ace, opportunity. So it's a hidden opportunity here that has been manifested or created, or being created in the dark. Something in the unknown regarding creativity, children, entertainment, the soul expression is being done right now. I mean, we made a decision that may have hurt our feelings, but we had to grow up and realize, you know, it's just time for something new. And now in the hidden position with this creativity, there's a spark, there's a flame to tend to, and what came out to was the Three of Pentacles. So there is a winning team being created here. This is like coming together as a group of people, or a small community working together. This could be also like receiving an accolade, or working with a business team, coming up with a new idea on how to work on something. But this is Mercury, so it does have to do with communication. So we can definitely be more mindful of, you know, what you speak into existence with this transit, because again, Pluto here, things are going to change completely, and it's not a bad thing when things change completely. Change is necessary for life. So just make sure, you know, you keep your vibration as high as you can. We are supposed to go through moments where we have dips in order to know what it's like when the waves come in. Just ride the wave. So let's look at this Mars force here at the bottom, and the Saturn position. What force are we working with? What force do we want to be mindful that we work with? Because we want to make sure it's our personal force. Our identity is how we identify ourselves is going to tell us a lot about the energy that we call in. So we got the moon here. Unknown activity, subconscious activity as well. So if we're being moved by our subconscious to take action on things that we haven't done before, or might seem like some type of wild idea to most people, or even to yourself, it's some purpose in here, and being in a Saturn position. There's a long-term purpose for the call that you're being made to take. And look, Knight of Wands at the bottom. So it's definitely about taking a risk. We're working on how we take risks. We're working on what type of risks are we looking to take, and how it's going to fare in the long term. But there definitely is a need to, you know, identify ourselves and the risk that we're willing to take in building the life that, you know, we want to have. And it, again, remembering that it has to be different from everything else that we've known before, because that life is done. It's not coming back. There is no going back to the normal, the old way. It's all done. There is no more of that. It's done. And the quicker we accept that as a collective, you know, individually, of course, but, you know, the more that everyone starts to accept that collectively, the better off we'll be walking through the nighttime and the dark times that we're in right now, and start to see things differently. More, being more, when you know who you are with that Mars, when you are able to identify who you are on the highest level, it makes it easier for you to identify what you should do moving forward down here, living in this reality. We're not, just because you're spiritually aware doesn't mean that you don't go through anything. It just means that you have the ability to adjust better than those who have no awareness. So the outcome card, Aquarius, I know the sun position, we will be in Aquarius season. 1 degree Aquarius, exactly when it goes into Taurus. Let's get one more card. What do we need to know? Okay, I said one more, and okay. So this is the one, this is what I was actually looking for. Temperance came out. So we know we need to be patient. We know we need to allow, you know, spiritual guidance to take precedent over, you know, what we physically see. Neptune is still squaring the nodes. So there's still some illusions or delusions or what have you that still are being worked out. The truth is still coming to the surface. But again, continuing to tune in will allow you to be able to tune the bullshit out. Okay, so this came out to 7 of Cups, exactly. Like learning how to not get caught up in emotional traps that are being set up for you to just blindly walk into, because there are so many changes going on. You just want to make sure that the change that you work with is the one that's going to be right for you, but only you know what's right for you. Only you know what's going to mess you up and make you start over and learn the lessons all over again. Only you know that. And it's okay to, you know, have ability to consult with others, especially experts, that'll give you a good idea on how you can proceed. But just remember that, you know, we know that something is requiring our emotional balance in order to, you know, examine each cup the way it's supposed to be, so we pick the correct one. Because we already know what it is that we want to do. We just have to allow ourselves to have patience going through these unnecessary times. And these two fell out as well. The Hierophant and 6. So somebody is definitely a guidance. Someone is able to guide us. We can be our best teacher and guide ourselves as well. We might be a guidance for others. But we all want to shine our beacons of light. Shout out to Janae. We all want to be beacons of light when, you know, following our individual paths that brings us peace. That's definitely where we want to be. We want to have a peace of mind. And peace of mind doesn't come with being overbearing, extremely judgmental, overly critical. That's not how you create peace. It doesn't come that way. It only comes with this balance, emotionally balanced, with your fire, balancing your divine feminine energy. So when you do start to use this masculine energy, when you start to push off of things, when you start to actually act on things, it'll be more guided through intuition instead of just trying to oversaturate the mental powers. So At the bottom, High Priestess. Aye. Yes, baby. Ooh. Yeah, we know we're being guided to make some decisions. Definitely weigh out what's worth it and what's not worth it. So, yeah, this is a perfect time for us to see what we're truly made of and what values we really hold, and the values of people around us, because that also is a reflection of how we value things too. So, thank you so much for tuning into this reading. I hope you guys enjoy the Moon and Taurus reading. Happy birthday to all the Aquariuses. Happy lunar return as well. And peace.